Hello, my name is Brooke and I'm a geologist. In today's episode, we're going to expand upon the things that we discussed in the very first episode, Secrets of Geology. This is going to be a whole series about how you describe and look at rocks both in hand specimen like this and then later on as thin sections, and we're going to use microscopes to do it, and I'll teach you the simple tools that we use to describe and understand rocks. To start off with, we're going to look at a really simple rock. This is a red sandstone. It's Triassic in age, and it comes from Gloucestershire here in the UK. A sandstone like this is a pretty simple, basic rock. It's one of the kinds of things that I started with when I was an undergrad, learning how to describe rocks. And we'll be able to observe and identify some of the most common minerals that you'll find in granular rocks. Okay, we've got the rock under the microscope and we're ready to go. You're going to be able to see what I'm looking at under the microscope, and I'm going to narrate along with it and point things out with you with my little Allen key there. So just look how thin that is. It won't even focus on it, it's so thin, but you'll see how big it looks underneath the microscope lens. Okay, so we can see under the lens already, this is definitely a granular rock. You can see all those grains and granules all over. And we're looking at one of the red areas right now. We'll just focus on those red areas. And there's going to be a few basic things that you want to talk about when you start looking at a rock. And the most obvious things is the colour. And we can see in this rock that there are two types of colour. We've got these red areas, and then we've got these grey, green or blue-green areas. Everyone might see them a little bit differently. And we can see it's got this colour banding on it, but we can't see any other kind of banding on it like we saw in some of those limestones in the other episode. Next set of questions we want to be asking when we're looking at a rock like this is about the grains themselves. What size are the grains? What shape are they? Is there a range of sizes and shapes? Are they all the same size and shape, or are they all very different sizes and shapes? Are the grains touching, or is there space between them, and if so, what's between the grains? We can see here that these grains are actually quite fine. If I put in my little Allen key, remember how small that Allen key was when we just looked at it? So the grains are big enough to see, but they're still very small. We call grains of that size fine sand. Can't really make out what shape they are, so we're going to have to zoom in a little bit. You might notice it's starting getting difficult to focus now, and that's because at this scale, just the normal bumpiness of the sample gets exaggerated, so it's like we're looking down on mountains and valleys and trying to simultaneously focus on the top of a mountain and right down in the valley. We can see that the grains are definitely fine grained, and just from looking here we can see that they range in size from maybe a maximum of 0.5 millimetre all the way down to something like 1/4 millimetre or even less. We can also see that there's a couple of kinds of grains. We've got these pinkish red to white and greasy grey grains. We can also see that there are some milky white grains that don't look shiny. And then there's a type of grain that's flat and flaky. Some of them are black and some of them are silver and sparkly. Some of the grains are quite rounded and some of the grains are still quite jagged. So we have a range of sizes and a range of shapes as well. So now we've looked at one of the red bands, let's zoom back out. So here we are looking at one of those green-grey bands, and we can see that the contact between the bands is quite irregular. We can also see that there's some structure in the sand itself, some very fine scale layers that we can call laminations, and that the green coloration actually passes over those laminations, it cuts across them, so there's a wiggly boundary between the green-grey and the red. So the laminations were made when these grains were deposited in whatever environment they were in. So that means that the green coloration must have come later. Let's zoom right in and see what the green coloration actually is made of. Oh, this is interesting. Turns out it's made of exactly the same stuff as the red bands, just without the pink-red colour. Oh, we can see it's got the same greasy grey grains, the same milky white grains, the same flat, flaky black and silver sparkly grains. So they're both made of exactly the same thing. Whatever the green grey is, it's something that's happened to the sediment after it has already turned into a rock. And we call something that happens after the grain has turned into a rock a diagenetic feature. Diagenetic is the term we use to describe the process of a soft sediment turning into a hard rock. Something else that's worth noting as well, as we're looking at one of the red bands, it's not the grains themselves that are red, it's whatever's surrounding the grains. There seems to be some kind of reddish pink substance that surrounds and encompasses, and in some cases it looks like it's coating the grains. And so perhaps in those grey-green bands, whatever that red substance is has been washed away. So we've made a lot of good observations there, and we can try and work out what these grains are. Grains are generally either going to be composed of other bits of rock that have been broken up and eroded and then redeposited. They're going to be composed of minerals, or they're going to be composed of bits of organic material, which could be shells or bones or just lumps of organic matter. We've not seen any lumps of organic matter or bones or shells, so we can discount that. They tend to be quite distinctive, and we will have a look at some point in this series. We haven't seen any lumps of other rock so far. These tend to be quite large because they require specific environments to be formed and deposited in. So we can pretty much say that we've got a lot of mineral grains in our specimen. So because of the size range of our grains, we can say that this is a sandstone. It's made of fine sand-sized particles. Sand is actually a size range. It doesn't tell you what the material is that the grain is made of. So let's take a look at the most common one. We had these greasy grey, rounded grains. And the most common mineral to display all of those features is quartz. We had those milky white grains, some of which were long and domino shaped. And they're probably going to be a type of mineral from a group known as the feldspars. In fact, they're probably going to be a type of feldspar called plagioclase. Our next two minerals were the flaky black and the flaky silver shiny ones. Flaky minerals are generally clays. The black one is probably biotite, and the silver one is probably muscovite. And again, they're both fairly common minerals. Chances are they've been eroded out of a parent rock and then deposited along with the sand. So our final mineral is the red coloration that seemed to be a coating around the grains. And a common red mineral that coats grains is iron oxide. And in this case, it's probably going to be an iron oxide called hematite, which unsurprisingly is named for its red colour. But to really confirm this, what we're going to have to do is cut this rock up, grind it down to the width of a human hair, and then look at it under a microscope with polarising light. And that's what we're going to do now. Oh, that's quite different, isn't it?